I, 33 female, hosted Thanksgiving this year. It rotates between my house, my sister's and my brother's homes yearly. It's a big gathering normally involving my siblings, their partners, my sister's kids and our parents. My brother James, 35, and his wife Becky, 31, are having their first child this year. The baby is due in spring. We have a traditional Thanksgiving meal, watch the parade, play games as a family, have a couple of drinks together in the evening, and the usual stuff. Same kind of thing every year. This year, a couple of weeks back, I got what is basically a list of demands from Becky in our family group chat. She wants to come, but her pregnancy means some things need to be adjusted. Her rules were: no poultry as the smell makes her sick, no alcohol as the smell makes her sick and she can't join in, and the food needs to be served early as she needs to nap during the time it's normally served. She also doesn't want to play the games as she tires easily, so we can listen to music and talk in the evening instead. I was really upset by this. Firstly, none of us are vegetarian, and so I don't really know how to prepare a turkey alternative. But secondly, I'd already ordered the turkey and it seemed like a waste. And to not be able to drink, eat when we want to, or even play our games in the evening just feels so unreasonable when 9 of us won't get to celebrate in the way we'd like to. In the family chat, I replied that while I would make her a non-poultry meal and make sure people don't drink at the table, I wouldn't ban poultry or alcohol from the house. And I certainly wouldn't be not playing our games. My niece and nephew are now old enough to join in and loved it last year. James and Becky said I was being unreasonable and that she was pregnant, so I needed to be more understanding. My mom joined in and said it's not hard to accommodate, but I was really annoyed by this point. I told Becky she was uninvited if she couldn't accept any compromise whatsoever. James called me separately to say I'm excluding her and ruining their Thanksgiving, and she can't help how she feels during pregnancy. I said I wasn't excluding her, and she's welcome if she can accept that Thanksgiving has to work for everyone else too. In the end, neither Becky nor James came over. It was a weird day without them, and I'm sad they weren't there, but I feel like I wasn't unreasonable. I do want to make amends, but am I the idiot? But her pregnancy means some things need to be adjusted. Since when did becoming pregnant become a national emergency for the people not involved? Not the idiot. Sorry, your sister-in-law is a pregnant zilla. Yeah, if I was in her position, I would feel uncomfortable having a list of demands that do not consider everyone else. The thing about compromise is that it involves compromise. It does not involve compromise by giving me anything I want. I'm a raging vegan, and I think no poultry Thanksgiving is absurd. It's Thanksgiving among non-crazies. No drinks? What's even the point? No games are where I'm really gone. That's some psycho bridezilla nonsense. At that point, you might as well literally say, I don't think I can have fun, so nobody else is allowed to have fun. I wonder if sister-in-law was also one of those brides who demanded a whole year for herself. No one else was allowed to celebrate milestones, announce a pregnancy, or even get pregnant, celebrate graduation, etc. during the entirety of the calendar year in which she was getting married. The thing that gets me is that parenting is all about putting another human ahead of your own desires, and often not getting what you want at all. That's kind of the whole thing. The inflexibility on display here is counter to the mindset that these new parents need to start getting used to. Not only are they alienating the family when they're going to need them the most, but they are setting completely unrealistic standards for how their lives look from here on out. Recently, a children's hospital in our city held a fundraising dinner and auction to raise money to upgrade their cancer wing. My wife works as an administrator for the hospital group that owns the children's hospital, but doesn't work for the children's hospital. She told me their CEO expected all of the administrators to go to mingle with the donors and asked if I wanted to come. I wanted to, but I declined because I had a dinner meeting the same night. That night came and we went to our separate functions. I got home first and went straight to bed because I was tired from my full day. The next day, when we woke up, everything was normal as we talked about our night. Somewhere in the middle of our conversation, my wife told me that we donated $5,000 to the children's hospital. I was stunned. I asked her to repeat it to ensure I heard her correctly. I didn't remember us talking about any donations, much less a $5,000 donation. Honestly, I didn't know what to say. I told my wife while it looks like we can afford the donation right now, our financials took a big hit with this economy and looks to be taking a bigger hit next year. The company I work for have been holding high-level meetings about our clients not renewing contracts because they're anticipating their own slowdown. There's a slim but real chance I might lose my job next year if the economy in our business doesn't pick up. This is not the time to be giving away $5,000. She argued that she'd already made the donation, so there was nothing we could do about it. I went to check our account and saw that it hadn't been withdrawn, so I went to the bank, opened another account, and then transferred my portion of the account, leaving only her money. I transferred my direct deposits into the new account, leaving our joint account with only her money and direct deposit. She doesn't have much more than $5,000, so once the Children's Hospital donation hits that account, she won't have enough money left to buy a cup of coffee. I told her what I did and that she donated without talking to me about it, so it's coming out of her money, not mine. She said I couldn't do that because both of our names are on the donation brick. They put the donor's name on a brick and then use those bricks to build part of the new wing, and she can't back out of it without looking foolish to the rest of the executive team. I told her she should have thought of that before giving away money without talking to me first. She argued it's for a good cause, to which I argued making sure we're not homeless next year is a better cause. I'm standing my ground, but she's gotten her family involved. Her father called me to have a man-to-man talk about me being a better man by supporting my wife and helping children. They're making me out to be some kind of monster because we can afford it right now. Am I a monster? Not the idiot. Let me guess, your wife had cocktails and now her evening of generosity is everyone else's responsibility but hers. Her mouth wrote a check that she couldn't cash. Big spending, no matter what or how well-intentioned, must be discussed with your partner if you share finances. Tell her father this was her donation. No one is stopping him from chipping in to help her. $5,000 is a lot of money for most people, and I would be understandably upset. It probably wasn't an insignificant chunk of their savings either, because OP said he moved his share out of their joint account. Let's assume that's about half of all the money in there. And according to OP, after the donation gets taken out of the account, she wouldn't have enough left to buy a cup of coffee, so there's barely over $5,000 left in there now. In other words, they only had about $10,000 in the bank to begin with. While they're doing better than a lot of people, that is most certainly not we can spend $5,000 on a donation kind of money. US healthcare providers, including hospitals, are for-profit businesses, and it's all kinds of wrong that they ask for additional donations when they have CEOs and other execs on high salaries. Point this out to your wife and ask her to reevaluate her priorities. It's not okay for her to make such a grand financial gesture, which is what it is, with your joint money without your explicit consent. If she still wishes to go ahead with this donation, she can fund it and make it only in her name. I, 32 female, have a daughter. I'll call her Isla, kindergartner. My brother Ben, 37, has a wife Candice, 32, who has a daughter Kaylee, 2 years older than Isla, with her ex who is not in Kaylee's life. Ben and Candice married when Kaylee was 4. Ben cares a lot about Kaylee, but Candice takes care of Kaylee financially and makes all the decisions about parenting, which is the arrangement they've agreed on, and no one questions that. My parents aren't fond of Candice. Of course they're polite and happy that Ben is happy, but no one has warmed to her. It's not for any particular reason, there just hasn't been a click on either side of the equation. Candice isn't too fond of us all either. Candice and Ben also live a few states away, so we rarely see them. When Isla was born, my parents started a college fund for her. I told my parents when they started it not to do this, as my husband and I were putting aside enough money for education and trust for Isla that she would be fully financed, but they insisted. They said they would like to pay for her college, and we could add any money we'd save for her college to her trust. This is very important to them, so we agreed. Candice recently found out about the college fund and is livid. She thinks my parents owe Kaylee a college fund because she is their granddaughter too. Now, for better or worse, my parents don't see it that way. Candice called my parents about this and asked Ben to put pressure on them to provide money for Kaylee, but they wouldn't budge. So she's now calling me, saying I should ask my parents to use Isla's fund for Kaylee since we don't need the money, or at the very least I should commit to using the money for Kaylee when the time comes. I don't think it would be right for me to take the money from my parents in bad faith and redistribute it against their wishes. Nor do I think it would be right to take something of great value from my daughter and important to her grandparents just because someone else feels entitled to it. I said all this to Candice, who hasn't contacted me since. However, some relatives have said since I wouldn't miss the money, I should think about contributing at least some of the money to Kaylee's education. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Ben isn't allowed to make parenting decisions, financially support his stepdaughter, but his, OP's parents, are supposed to fund her education and treat her like a granddaughter when it benefits her. That's not how it works. It's basically like expecting a stranger to save thousands on your behalf. This is spot on. How strange. It could be the jealousy that's driving this demand. She can't have it both ways. Keep her husband from parenting her daughter and still demand his parents pay for her college? That's having your cake and eating it too. By some quick math computations and a basic understanding of biology, I'm coming up with Kaylee having 4 actual blood relation grandparents. If anyone is going to pony up a college fund, it should be them. And that being said, Isla's education fund is for her education. I highly doubt her endowment is enough to pay for an Ivy League law or medical degree, so it's about 15 years too soon to be saying she doesn't need it. The money isn't even yours to give. She thinks my parents owe Kaylee a college fund because… Let's just stop there. Your parents don't owe Kaylee a damn thing. They can do what they want with their money. People can argue if, depending upon a given situation, it's an idiot thing for grandparents to give money to one and not the other. But they do not owe anyone anything. And Candice is an idiot for coming to you asking to take money away from your daughter, especially since that goes directly against your parents' wishes. At 21 years old, I'm 307 pounds and on medication to lower my blood pressure. Although I'm not one of those people who think that obesity isn't real or healthy for every size or anything like that, I know what this is doing to me. I'm worried about permanent damage to my heart and kidneys, and I can hardly look in the mirror anymore. This year was the first time I got really serious about weight loss. I started taking weight loss medication and seeing a nutritionist who has helped greatly. We made a plan that doesn't feel as restrictive as a normal diet but helps me from pigging out around dinner. I still get to eat what I like, just in moderation. Additionally, I go to the gym every day, doing a 30-minute weightlifting circuit 3 times a week and an elliptical workout 30 to 60 minutes. This is the first time I've seen progress in losing weight, as I've lost around 10 pounds. Plus, I figured out how much I love going to the gym. I'm really proud of myself. The point is, I don't like being fat. I want to be healthy, be able to have kids and watch them grow up, feel more attractive and not hate every photo of myself, be able to do actual push-ups for the first time in my entire life, comfortably fit in an airplane seat, and not have my hip rubbing up against the person next to me. Aside from that, I have goals for life beyond my weight, and I want to have enough time to accomplish them, write a book, get my pilot's license, and get my bachelor's degree. I'm making progress towards this. I don't like talking much about my weight with my family because they're incredibly judgmental. Still, at Thanksgiving, they found a way to bring it up anyways, saying how I looked like I'd put on a few pounds since September and asking how all this was affecting my health. While I tried to brush it off, my mother was more than willing to tell everyone about my issues. Everything from my antidepressants to how she's hardly seen a change in my eating habits to how she's found snack wrappers in my trash, me taking a break from school, my ex-boyfriend, everything they didn't need to know. It just made me feel bad. This wasn't their business. This was hardly even her business. So, after dinner, I just left without saying anything, which made her mad at me, saying I caused a scene and that it was so rude. But that environment just wasn't healthy. I probably could have handled it better, though. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You didn't ruin Thanksgiving, your family did. Feel free to avoid Christmas too, and find a group of supportive people instead. And my guess is that the more you progress towards your health goals, the more they'll bring it up, so you might want to go low contact now. Keep up the good work. Fully agree. Find supportive people. They are out there and will love you and lift you up. Also, fully agree with avoiding Christmas, and if asked why, be brutally honest. You'd be amazed at how ugly people can get when you lose weight. All their insecurities come out. My friend, for your own mental health, put your mother on a low-information diet. Stop telling her things. The issue wasn't the food. The issue is your family treating you poorly, her most of all. Learn to grey rock. Give no emotions to her to feed on. Answer in yes, no, not your business terms. Good luck, and congrats on the weight loss. I, male 24, grew up next to a sweet old lady. Her husband died and she lived alone. When I was 11, she offered me $50 a week to walk her dog since she was unable to. This ended up turning into me helping her around for some cash. I would mow her lawn, fix things around the house, and buy her groceries. She paid me good money and she was a kind person. Eventually, I realized how lonely she was, so I would often go to her house and spend time with her since her actual family lived far away. Towards the end of high school, she started losing it. Her memory got worse and she'd forget things. I felt bad accepting money, started making excuses and would lie to get out of her paying me. I think she realized I was avoiding her payments and felt bad. Finally, at the end of my senior year, she wrote me a check for my college tuition. Keep in mind my tuition was close to $25,000 a year and she paid for a full year. I tried not to accept the gift, but she insisted that I accept it. After I went to college, she hired a caregiver and didn't really need me, but I still tried to visit. Well, this year she died and I was on her will. She gave me her home and some money. Her immediate family fought hard to get the house from me, but I fought hard to keep it. I offered for them to visit and grab any family keepsakes, but after that the home was mine. I decided to sell the home and move across the country for a new job opportunity. Her family came at me hard and demanded I sell it to them. I told them I'll hear their offers, and if it's close to my asking price, I will give them the first options. Their offer was 70% of the asking price after I did $35,000 in renovations. I rejected them and sold the house to another buyer. I now have to deal with like 20 angry emails a week claiming I'm selling away the house they grew up in to a random stranger. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There were reasons why it was given to you and not her family. You were more her family than they were. They're probably upset because they realize that they never or rarely visit her is why this happened. Her family needs to reflect on why they didn't get the house but an outsider did. Sometimes blood does not really equal family. They left her alone and what matters is that you were there for her when she needed it. Her family could have all the reasons in the world, but they did not step up to the task when she was alive. The house is yours and you do what you want with it. They just assumed they would get the house. They are the idiots of the story. Opie should get a restraining order on them all. The house was left to you by a woman who appreciated what you did for her. Where was her family when you mowed her lawn and did odd jobs? Block those jerks. You offered them priority to buy it and they lowballed you. It was left to you and you can do whatever you want with it.